Dovson and welcome to the Ching Cafe. For those of you who are YouTube watchers, you will notice that something is a little different. I'm not in front of you, and of course our wonderful podcast followers, it'll be absolutely normal for you. Sometimes technology does not play ball, and this week was one of those weeks, so I thought, right, let's not sacrifice getting the weekly overview for the week commencing the 6th of April, a couple of days ago, to you so that you can get going with the I Ching advice for the week. Then try and fight with technology. So we're not going to do that this week. We're going to just get a move on. Right, so let's get into our weekly overview. And before we do that, let's first have a little recap as to what happened last week. As you remember, last week was all about contemplation, taking time out to climb up to the top of the tower, to look back down and reflect on what we can now see because we have an elevated perspective. So I hope you had good luck with your strategies last week in your business or reflecting on what's next for your life in your personal life. And we finished off last week with a hexagram all about jumping into the ravine, plunging into the water and letting it take you, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So let's get into this week's overview. We start this week for the 6th of April with a hexagram called number 7, the army. Now this hexagram is all about war, and I'm really not pro the word war, so we'll talk about battles, the battles we face in life. And so the army is a hexagram that if you look at the structure, at the top you have earth, and underneath the hexagram you have the trigram water. And so it's being able to draw on the deep reserves of water that are sitting deep within the earth. And so in times of a great battle that we undertake, we need to tap into this underground lake, as it were, and draw up that water out to the surface to help us achieve what we need to do. And so this week, we're being called to focus on being the leader of the army. This hexagram is really about undertaking some significant event, having to really draw all the resources together to wage that battle, to undertake something that requires a lot of focus and a lot of strength. And this hexagram is calling us to leadership this week. So whether this is in your personal life, in your business, stepping into the shoes of leader, into the general, as this hexagram talks about, is what it is all about. Being able to step into our power, to step into our leadership position, and to take charge. Because in order for us to undertake something great, whether this is nothing at all to do about coronavirus in your life right now, or lockdowns or shutdowns, or wherever you may find yourself right now, we are being called to take charge and to lead our troops with discipline. Because if we do not draw on these resources and have a very clear plan of what it is that we're wanting to do, and we communicate really well, it can go very wild very quickly. So I think this is really quite amazing, considering last week we had contemplation, where we were asked to go to the top of the tower and get perspective and relook at what we're trying to do and see the bigger picture. And now we're needing to take this clear picture and put it into action and to rally the troops for a massive undertaking. And this really says that we need to overcome our maybe poor communication we haven't been doing, perhaps get stuck in, and really don't be fearful, get into the position of leadership and take charge. So I would encourage you to really kind of bring on that persona of the general who has a clear strategy that's clearly communicated. Everyone knows their job. And you think about that general, you look at cavalry, infantry, breaking up the army into pieces of specialization of focus. And I think in your business, this is what we've been called to do, is to really rally the troops, be organized, be good communicators, have a very clear plan of what we're trying to do, and go for it. And I think also that what we're going to see, if we take this idea of army, we're going to probably also see a lot more army action in the world around us. And of course, we're in really weird times, so keep your eyes open for a lot of news around military action or army action. And of course, each one of us has to be one of these very disciplined people in the army of staying at home and doing our bit to flatten the curve. This week we have one changing line in the 5th position, and in the I Ching it talks about this idea that in the open fields where this battle is being waged, or the field of focus, a whole lot of very pesky birds or game have wandered into this area and are starting to munch away and destroy this field. This is our field of focus. They're not where they should be. They should be in the forest, and they're kind of other birds or buck or whatever it is have wandered out into our field and are now munching away and creating a disturbance. And our task is to get into this field and clear and remove this wild game as quickly as possible. Get rid of it. Take vigorous action. This symbolizes something that's wandered into our field of focus that is undoing what we're trying to do, is almost corrupting the situation and breaking it down by munching all the grass, if you can see that analogy. And our task is to be vigorous and quite aggressive in going in and sorting out this field of focus, sorting out these wild animals that are coming in. Of course, we're talking symbolically, not about massacre of animals, please. And the idea is that when we have troops, when we are focused on mobilizing and getting stuck into this field, we need to be very disciplined, focused, have a clear idea, go in, sort it out, come back out. This is not a time where our troops just go into a frenzy of removal of these animals just because they've lost themselves. They've lost themselves in mob mentality. No, we need very highly intelligent, disciplined soldiers who go in and sort this out for us. So discipline starts with you, starts with me this week. We have to be disciplined leaders. We have to be brave leaders and in charge. And we're being called to the position of leadership very strongly. And then our second hexagram is none other than a repeat of last week's outcome hexagram 29, Abysmal, or the abyss. Isn't that interesting? So we had Abysmal last week as our outcome. We have Abysmal this week as our outcome, was our second relating paired hexagram or state of change for this week. So we are not out the woods. This is saying that there is risk, there is danger, there is flow, there's uncertainty, and there's a lot of fear. And our task, now we are generals this week, we aren't contemplating the world from our pedestal like last week. This week we're on the ground, in the field, chasing the game, in battle. Now we still have to work with this idea of feeling the fear and doing it anyway, throwing ourselves into the water, not trying to cling on to things the way they were, or what we know is, yes, the situation is ripe and rich, full of risk, but our task is to flow with that risk and let it take us, let us flow into that change, flow into that water, and let it take us down the ravine. So quite a lot of courage required, I think, at this time. And besides the fact that courage is something that we bring to our day every day now in these weird and wonderful times we live in, this week, more than anything else, our courage to be a leader, our courage to take the plunge, to throw ourselves into the task at hand, and to go with the risk, create and unlock the opportunity of risk. That is what the I Ching is asking us to pay attention to this week. So a couple of things from my side. If you go to the description or the show notes for this episode, you'll find one solitary link. And this link will take you to a variety of resources that might be of interest to you in working with the I Ching. For example, we have the April monthly giveaway is now open and ready for you to submit your questions. And the questions don't roll over. You know, every month there's a new clean slate of questions. So go into your question for the April giveaway. We'll have the video for the March giveaway soon. Very exciting. And then also there's links to Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter if you'd like to join our I Ching and Flowing with Change conversation online. We have a link to my meditation profile on the Insight Timer. There's a Flowing with Change meditation. It's very useful, particularly for this hexagram 29 Abysmal. And there's also a meditation for our second hexagram of the month from April of 62, attention to detail. So you can go and work with a meditation to help you really unpack that state of change. And of course, if you haven't yet done so, go and watch the video for the April overview to see what we should focus on for this month. Of course, please do subscribe to this channel. Every single subscribe that comes in is very significant to me. It allows us to do more and more and more with this channel. So whether you're subscribing on your favorite podcast app or you're subscribing on YouTube, really, really appreciate your support and engagement. We're all going through so much right now, and it would just be great for us to continue to support each other and to keep on working with this wonderful tool that's come to help us deal with change in life, business, you name it. Whatever we can do, let's do it. So, clarity, agility, and mastery. Wishing that for you for the week ahead. Thank you so much for being with me today. And let's hold thumbs, technology works with us for next week. On that note, see you soon.